can somebody check the stream and make sure it's actually streaming out a picture?
Yeah, this is stream. So many channel things for my notes for the podcast. They don't have anything set up though, so it's just...
Yeah, oh, shouldn't say this on here. Never mind. I'll say that.
On Midgard, I set it up so you can spend 1,000 points to player or gym advantage and select inspiration.
Nice. Yeah.
But since the only people who are actively watching are the players, they end up giving themselves
That's perfect.
So I had to instate the rule that amongst themselves they can only give themselves inspiration once per game.
That's hilarious. I love it. Perfect. Okay, so we are now transitioning into having a live feed. Can somebody check the feed for me?
We're up.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, as we were just saying amongst ourselves, this wouldn't be a stream unless there was some technical difficulties. So, welcome to D&DeBrief this Sunday, March 29th, 2020. I am your DM and host, Sam Dillon, and I am here with my 4 totally awesome and very patient players. That would be David.
Hi.
And Nina.
Hello.
And Karu.
Hey.
And Matt.
Hello.
And the last thing that we were doing had us going on to a ship where there was going to be a duel, possibly, but then there's not a duel. Why? What happened?
They got attacked by things, and we're going to fight them.
Okay.
Is
What
the
else?
long and
This is
short of it.
non-dual.
Well, they during the negotiations that we had with their second, whose name I don't have because my notes are on my other computer that wasn't working. They basically revealed that they had sort of defected away from the other fellow pirates armada, and that they were falling more and more under the effects of this curse or transformation. So that they were hoping that potentially Marcel's pendant could be used to reverse those effects. So they initially offered to duel for the pendant instead of the sword, but then they changed their minds completely and said, well, no, maybe if Marcel can use their pendant to reverse these transformations, then maybe we don't have to duel at all. And we had kind of agreed to go out. I can't remember if we were going to go out to their ship in the morning or they were going to bring their affected people to the island in the morning. It was one of those two. But then we got a glimpse that basically, they were these weird creatures with like sort of predator-style split open mouths and long tentacles growing out of their heads were crawling up the sides of their boat, and we hopped in the Curiosity and started flying towards them.
Okay. In the few minutes in the boat, if you want to do like an intelligence check or a wisdom check or a history check.
All of us?
Sure. If you want to know what those creatures are.
I've apparently
9.
never seen them before in my life.
Mystery is at +2. Oh, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, I rolled a 5.
I rolled a 9.
Okay.
Same.
I got a 5 also.
All right. two fives
Yeah.
and
Oh,
two
God.
nines.
Oh, God. Guys.
Wow.
We're just getting the bad rolls out of the way. It's okay.
I really don't
The one thing I am gonna do at the very least before we even get to the ship is cast mage armor on myself, because no way I'm going in a battle without mage armor.
Okay.
I'll do the
Okay.
same.
Okay, so mage armor for both of you. Any other preparations that you want to make? I mean, I think technically you actually landed on the ship at the end of the thing, but we didn't really do, it only took a couple minutes to get there, but I think that's enough time for
Yeah.
you to have done some preparations if you want to.
I'll recite some pre-battle poetry and give everyone an inspiration die.
Okay,
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
Yeah, and your 10th level, so that's a D10 instead of a D8, right?
D10, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Very cool.
Nice.
And that's for 1 minute, right? So, or 10 minutes.
10
10
minutes.
minutes.
10 minutes, yeah. So, yeah, so that should be available for a while. Okay. And so you get to the ship and you get off of the ship. You hop out of the Curiosity and you see these horrible creatures. They are, I'll describe them for the audience. They are humanoid shaped, so they have a torso and a head and 2 arms and 2 legs. But coming out of the back of the head, there are these large tentacles, and they have sort of what almost looks like a kelp leaf at the end of them, and their skin is at the end of the tentacles. I mean, their skin is sort of smooth but slightly scaly, like a fish, and they have fins on the back sides of their arms, and their face has these sort of flaps that sort of they have a mouth with teeth, but they have these flat, instead of having regular lips, they have these enormous flaps that sort of open up almost like the petals of a flower that they then frame the opening to the mouth. And they do have visible eyes, but the eyes are red. And yeah, so they do have 5-fingered hands, or well, they have fingers on their hands. It's impossible to tell how many fingers are there actually, but they are humanoid style hands with fingers with joints. And as you were flying over, the whole reason that you were doing this is because, remember, Konos sent Otto, who is in pelican form, and riding on the back of Otto is the crow/raven. And they flew over to get some reconnaissance, and they heard Sharkface talking to his second in command. And they then were leaving because Kono said, okay, come back, you're just going to do some recon and then come back. And as they were leaving, they saw these horrible flower-faced, flappy-faced fish creatures climbing onto the ship. And when they told Konos, you all decided to jump into the Curiosity and fly over. So you have now landed on the deck, the main deck of the ship. Sharkface is there. He sees you get out of the Curiosity. You didn't even bother to cast invisibility on the Curiosity at this point. He sees the Curiosity come over. He is, wondering what the heck's going on. Then he sees you all get out of the Curiosity and sort of.
I'm staying inside.
You're staying inside? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so he sees the other 3 of you get out of the Curiosity. And he sort of almost nods, although he's like a hybrid shark, so it's hard to tell if he's actually nodding, but he acknowledges your presence in some way. And on deck, so I'll remember the ship is it's between 80 and 100 feet long, and it's about 20 or 25 feet wide, and it has a forecastle, and it has a rear deck that are, 5 or 6 feet above. So there's little stairs that go the 5 or 6 feet, and then so the last, the last 15 feet of, or the front of the ship, that 15 feet is on the foredeck. It's 5 feet, 5 or 6 feet above, and then the in the rear, there's also that's the last 20 feet of that. So there's about 60 feet in the middle of the deck, and you've landed right in the middle of that. And there are these creatures crawling up. And so since we don't really have a map, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer to creatures as either being close to you, that is, they're close enough that you could attack them with a melee attack, or being a short distance away, which means you could move in their direction and get to them in one movement turn, or far away. And if they're far away, it would take you more than one movement turn to get there. So just to sort of abstract that out, and we're being very lenient with our distances, we're being very lenient with positioning, and when I say lenient, I mean fair, right? I'm going to try to be fair about distancing and all that stuff. So, but right now, the situation is such that you're all right in the middle of the deck of the ship. And Sharkface is basically right in front of the Curiosity. And there are 3 blue goblins on the upper deck in the rear, the aft deck. And there are 3 blue goblins on the upper deck in the bow, the front of the ship. And there are 2 goblins on either side in the middle portion of the ship. So there's 10 blue goblins, Sharkface, and you all. And there are 8 of those creatures sort of clambering onto the top deck right now. And the goblins are, about to engage with them. So the first question I want to ask you is there anything you want to do before we roll initiative and get going with this?
As soon as I step out of the Curiosity, am I allowed to cast Bless on the 3 of us that stepped out?
Sure.
Cool. I cast Bless on Marcel, Kronos.
If you want to do that before you hop out, you can do that. That way, Axley receives that benefit as well.
It's only 3 people.
It's only 3 people? Okay.
Yeah. And it only lasts a minute.
Okay. Remember, combat rounds are 6 seconds, so that would be 10 combat rounds. So
Bless is D4, right? To attacks.
D4 to attacks and saving throws, yeah.
Excellent.
Are the creatures armed? Are they carrying weapons?
Yeah, they are carrying battle axes.
Mm.
That's not an aquatic weapon.
I'll let them know.
Have you considered using a spear? Trident, even.
Javelins are good. Have you heard of harpoon?
Battle axe, not good.
Unless you need something for a makeshift oar.
So when you hop out of the Curiosity, are you going to be, like, where would you all like to position yourselves? In front of it, behind it, to the side of it?
I actually have a quick question
Sure.
for the 2 beside me. Do any of you want to fly?
Sure.
Did you see my tweet earlier? You might change your mind.
Oh, yes, but I don't know anything about that right now. Yeah, I'm going to use a sorcery point. I think it's 1 sorcery point. Let me just double check. I barely use these things. Meta magic, twin spell. Equal to the spell's level. Okay. So fly is a 3rd level spell. And I will cast fly on... Actually... You know what? We're going to save the meta magic for later. I'll just upcast fly. And I will cast fly on Konos and myself.
Okay.
So we are now able to fly. And that's 60 feet of fly speed. So that means we have 2 movements instead of 1 movement to get anywhere we want. Or stay out of range in my case.
Yeah, Axley's wondering how come you hopped out of the Curiosity right about now.
Because I need to see things to actually shoot them.
Fair.
Yeah, that's my preparation.
Matt, was there anything else you wanted Konos to do?
Just he's gonna move out of the Curiosity and move towards the front part of the ship.
Okay. Onto the onto the deck.
We'll say since I can fly now, I'll be like 10
Okay.
feet above the deck.
Okay. Okay, but at the bow though, right? Like you're above that forecastle, not above the
Yes.
regular main deck. Okay. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
put you above, right, in the front. What about Imran? Where are you going?
That's a good question. I just probably going to face the closest enemy.
Okay. Probably that would be on the right side. There are two of these creatures crawling
Fair enough.
pretty much really close to the side of the ship there. And Marcel, you're staying next to the Curiosity.
I'm gonna fly up into the air, but like say like 30 feet up and to the side so that I'm over the water.
Okay.
With a good view of the ship.
To the left or the right?
Which side has more enemies?
They've got 4 on each side so far.
Okay. The opposite side of where Emran went.
Okay. And you're 30 feet in the air above the main deck?
Yeah.
Okay. Konos, how high are you in the air right now?
10 feet.
Okay.
10 feet. Excuse me.
Okay. All right, so let's roll initiative.
Eight.
That's the last one. That's the last bad roll. Here we go. It's all good now.
+4. Mine's 22.
Okay.
17.
11.
What did Marcel get?
8.
Okay. Okay, I rolled a 13. So, Axley.
Okay, I'm gonna move the Curiosity forward and to the left, and I'm gonna orient it on the ones on the left side of the boat that are coming over, and let's try one of those levers, those weapons levers.
Okay. Which one?
So remind me again, what they're elements, right?
So, actually, let me get my notes from. I wrote down what they did here. All right, so let me make myself a note here. So other than the driving levers, here's what you have. Let me just make sure my notes are correct here. I'm being a bad streamer. I'm off the screen, kind of. I don't think it matters that much at this point. So, all right. So there is a lever that moves the claws. It's got 2 claws in the front. You already know about that one. Okay, so there's actually 2 levers, one for each claw. And then there is a button that has a circle on it with a circle inside of it. Okay. And then there is a button, and it has what looks like a almost like a megaphone kind of symbol on it, like a cone-shaped megaphone kind of thing.
Mhm.
So those are your 3 buttons, or your 3 items that are probably weapons.
What was the third one? I got the 2.
It's
The cone shape.
it's a button, and it has like a cone-shaped, almost a megaphone picture.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Oh, you're talking about the claws, or are you counting the claws as the third?
no. So there's two claw levers, and then there's a button and another button. So that's how I was getting 3. I'm counting the
Oh, okay.
claws
I
as 1.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, let's try the megaphone one. Why not? Looks like
Okay.
area effect to me. Go big or go home.
Go big or go home. Hold on one second. I'm dropping everything on my table. Okay, so you you hit that lever, and roll me 2d8.
Okay. Add them together.
Yes, please.
12.
Okay. You press that button, and you hear a click, and after about 3 seconds, you hear the sound of a like an old steam engine train, how they have the horn that goes boot, but when they have
Mhm.
that horn, they're letting steam out, and at the same time as you hear that noise, a portal opens, a little slit in the front of the Curiosity, and it sprays a jet of steam out in front of it in a 15-foot cone. And what did you roll on your 2d8?
7 and a 5, so 7.
Okay.
12.
12. Okay. So you end up doing 12 damage to the creature that was there, and also 2 of the creatures actually there, and then also the goblin that was standing in front, which is now dead. So let me note this down.
Oops.
Yeah. Whoops.
Glad I'm 30 feet away from it.
That one will be number 2. The one goblin dies. He just basically, his skin starts bubbling from the heat of the steam, and he just sort of keels over. And now the 2 creatures that you actually targeted with that, they sort of are paying more attention to you now. Is there anything else you would like to do this turn?
There's not much else I can do, right? That's my action, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had
nope.
any bonus thing that you'd like to do. Okay. Konos.
Okay. I will focus on. So it's just so the ones that actually shot with the steam. It's just the 4 of those clustered together now.
So what happened was, so there's 4 coming up they're crawling up that side of the ship. 2 of them are towards the back, and 2 of them were towards the front. The way that he angled himself, he got the 2 in the front plus one of the goblins.
Okay, so are those 4 creatures close enough that I could catch them all with Ivar's black tentacles?
What's the range on it?
It's a 90-foot range, and it creates a 20-foot square area.
If you can probably get 2 of them right now.
Okay. Then I'll just focus on the 2 that are closest, and I will cast the spell.
Actually, wait a minute. So if it's a 20-foot cube.
20-foot. Well, it's a square area.
Yeah.
You fill a 20-foot square on ground you can see within range. Yeah, and that ground is difficult terrain.
Okay. Yeah, so you'll end up hitting the side of the boat, basically the railing all right there, and that's where you'll do it, and it'll affect those same 2 that Axley just hit.
Okay. So at the start of their turn, they will have to make dexterity saving throws or take 3d6 bludgeoning damage and become restrained until the spell ends. And It's a
Okay.
minute, and it's concentration.
All right. And so you're concentrating on it right now then?
Mhm.
Okay. And nothing happens until the start of their turn?
Correct.
Okay. Are you
But
moving?
I'll stay where I am, 10 feet up in the
Okay.
sky. The area is difficult terrain, and if anything else enters that area, they have to make the next save then.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It's one of those spells where like you cast it, but nothing really immediately happens until their turn.
Right. So Sharkface and the goblins are trying to fight off the creatures that are closest to them. Sharkface is actually over near Immorin, and the goblins on that side. So now it's the creature's turn. And so those 2, when they start their turn, what kind of DC do they have to roll against?
It is a DC 17 dexterity save.
The first one failed. The second one failed. Okay, so what?
All right. They are both restrained, and they take 14 bludgeoning damage.
Okay.
And if at the start of their next turn they're still there and restrained, they'll take more.
Okay, and they're restrained. Okay. Okay.
And then they can use their. Go ahead.
They're restrained, and
Yep.
at the start of their turn, if they haven't moved, but they're restrained. Okay.
Well, yeah. So the way it works
Yeah.
is if you start your turn there, you have to
Right.
save. If you fail to save, you're restrained and take damage.
So
And
you're
then
going to take damage for 2 rounds if you fail your save, basically. Minimum.
Potentially, yeah. So if they start their turn there, they automatically take damage on the next turn, and it just keeps wearing them down.
Yeah.
On their turn, they can use their action to make either a strength or dexterity choice against the spell save DC. If they succeed, they free themselves.
Okay.
And can move out of the area.
They are.
That's what we call a zone of suck.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They are.
Like that.
They. Okay, so let's ignore those 2 for the moment. The 2, just because I'll figure out what they do in a second. The 2 in the back are fighting with goblins. The 2 in the back on the other side are fighting with goblins. The one that is closest to Immorin and the goblins, let me see, attacks the goblin. I just need to. Okay. The 2 that are on the right side of the ship towards the front, one of those is next to Immorin and a goblin and Sharkface trying to climb onto the boat. One of those is climbing up the forecastle next to a goblin, trying to attack that. Those 2 creatures, they sort of lift their heads up, and the flaps around their mouths sort of open up a little bit more, and you see all of these huge teeth. And then they emit a very high-pitched wailing screech.
Mm-hmm.
And Immorin and Sharkface and all the goblins, and also Konos, because he's only 10 feet in the air, have to make a DC 13 Wisdom save.
Plus a D4 for Konos, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Ooh, ow. That's a nat 1.
Ow.
Oh.
Don't forget you have Bardic Inspiration as well.
Yes. You
Will
have
that
inspiration.
even get you there though? I mean, even if you roll a 10.
Okay, so my wisdom save is +7, so that would be an 8, and plus a d4 plus 3, so that's 11.
So yeah, so you need to roll a 2 or higher on your d10.
Okay, that's a pretty good bet.
Plus a 4, so...
Okay, so you made it.
You
Okay.
made it with a nat 1.
I rolled an 11 total, so I'm going to use my inspiration as well.
Okay.
That puts me at a 15.
Okay. Just gotta find.
Meanwhile, I'm higher up in the air on the side and being like, huh, glad I made it out here. So much safer in the air.
There we go. So the poor goblins.
That's unfortunate.
Actually, that one made it.
Oh, hey.
The other one did not. And Sharkface did not. So anyone who failed their save is stunned.
Oof.
Ugh, that sucks.
Yeah. So one goblin and Sharkface are stunned. Ouch. That is not a pleasant thing. Sorry, I just have to grab Sharkface's stats here. Sharkface. Ha 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 ha. And being stunned is not happy. Stunned means you are incapacitated, you cannot move, you can only speak falteringly. You automatically fail strength and dexterity saves, and all attack rolls against you have advantage. Oh, Sharkface. Oh, that's sad.
That is very sad.
Of course, it's on the bottom of my stack of things I need to look at. Okay. Yeah. Stunned. Okay, now the I've got too much junk on my desk. My God, what is wrong with me?
I feel that.
All right.
Try
Okay.
having too much junk on your desk and a cat.
Yeah, the cat I'm sure will help you knock that stuff off of your desk.
Yep, will help with the junk problem.
So the stunning only lasts for one turn. It lasts until this creature's the end of their next turn. So basically, still, that is, yeah. So
You lose a turn.
yeah. So you basically lose a turn, and it makes it so that those creatures can then attack very well next turn. All right, and then it is Imran's turn.
Does this change what I want to do? I don't think it does. No, it doesn't. Yeah, I'm gonna kind of shimmy my way in between Sharkface and those creatures.
Okay.
And yeah, I'm gonna cast Destructive Wave.
Okay. And what does that do?
So each creature you choose within 30 feet, so just the two creatures in front of me,
Okay.
succeed a con saving throw, DC 15, or take
Okay.
5d6 thunder damage and 5d6 radiant damage, and be
Okay.
knocked prone.
All right. So what's the DC?
15.
And it's a con?
Yes.
Okay. No. And yes. So one of them failed and one of them passed.
Okay.
So the one closest to you failed. So what does it do?
I'm rolling damage.
Okay.
So one moment. That's
Yep.
a lot of dice.
Yes, that's a happy sound of a lot of dice.
18.
That's the fun part of high levels. All the dice.
22 thunder damage plus, let me write that down. 2, 6. Plus 19 radiant. The one that failed is knocked prone. The one that saved takes half of that damage and is not knocked prone.
So that's 41 damage total, is that correct?
Uh-huh.
22 and 19? Okay. And
Oh, this is fun.
Radiant and Thunder, is that what you said?
Radiant and Thunder, yes.
Okay, so 41. Ouch.
That's my high level spell, guys.
And that one's prone now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one takes half damage? Is that what I heard?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And not prone. Okay. Whew. Okay. Ouch. That was painful.
Mm-hmm.
Marcel.
Okay. So it's just Sharkface that got stunned?
And one of the goblins.
One of the goblins.
Yeah.
Is there any of the things around them?
Yeah, so they're all sort of bunched up right where Imran is.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the other side of the ship.
Right. I'm gonna fly just to get a visual on them.
Mm-hmm.
It's keeping 30 feet above, but just enough to see them. I should be able to see from above.
Sure.
And I'm going to point both fingers in Twin Spell Frostbite on the two that look like they have the best advantage hits on the ones that are stunned. That's going to be a 16 con save.
Okay.
For two of them.
So those are the same two that Imran attacked.
I'll go not for the prone one, but for whoever's still standing. So because there's 4 on each side, right?
Right, but there's only
so
but they're two of them are towards the front of the ship where Imran is, and 2 of them are towards the back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2 that are towards the back are just standing on deck right now fighting some goblins.
Yeah. Hold on. I'm gonna double check on the twin spell wording if they have to be close by.
I mean, they're only, probably 15 or 20 feet away from each other. So depending on the range of.
Okay, I think it has to do
works.
with the range of the spell, and my spell range is 60 feet. So.
Okay. Yeah. So.
So I'll aim for the one that's not on the ground, and one of the ones that are fighting goblins.
Okay.
To help them out, and that's a DC 16 con save.
Okay. Here's the first one. No. And the second one. No. Well, let's put that die away. All right.
What?
I rolled a 2 and a 4. Okay, let's switch.
And I rolled 8 damage. So both of them take 8 cold damage.
Okay.
And they have disadvantage on their next attack.
Okay.
As Frostbite just coalesces on top of them. And now they can't attack as well.
Okay, so. Okay. All right. So that's number 5. Okay.
And then I'm going to. I can use more than one sorcery point, right?
I don't see why not.
Yeah. So I'm going to quicken spell.
Okay.
And I'm going to send 2 Eldritch Blasts at the other one fighting goblins that did not get frostbitten.
Okay.
Where the goblins were fighting.
So one that has not been attacked yet?
Yeah. That's +8. So that's going to be a 17 and 23 to hit.
Yeah. When we get to the point where a 23 doesn't hit, you're all going to be crapping your pants.
Oh, I still don't have the hang of Eldritch Blast. It's like, boom, Frostbite, so good. Now Eldritch Blast. 3 points of damage.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Every little bit, right? Nickel and dime,
Yeah.
nickel and dime. Okay. So right now there are 8 creatures. 2 of them are sort of stuck to the railing where they were climbing up because of the black tentacles that are now crawling all over that railing. One of the goblins in front of that, one of those is dead. The curiosity is right there, sort of next to it, pointed at it, but not in the tentacles. There are still 3 goblins up on that deck up in the front of the ship, and Konos is flying 10 feet above the deck up there. In the back, there are also 5 goblins. There's 3 on the back deck and 2 sort of on the main deck, but towards the back. Those goblins are not looking very good. They've gotten their butts whipped. Okay, like none of these goblins look any good. The sharkface is stunned, so he hasn't done anything. Okay, um, and I need everybody to make me a perception check.
Okay, this is the important one. I rolled a 4.
Perception.
It's an
And is
8.
this
That's a
5.
7. Oh, no, 10. Sorry.
passive or do we get our bonus?
You roll a d20 and add your bonus. Add your
Bonus. Okay, so
wisdom perception.
okay, 18 total.
Okay.
There we go.
Even though Axley is in the curiosity, he apparently has like superhuman hearing or something because he sort of looks around. Maybe it's because the sounds from outside are muffled, but he sort of looks around and he knows that something is off. And when he looks off to the left, he sees off in the distance a huge cloud that is moving faster than a normal cloud, it seems. And there's lightning and whatnot in it. And it, as he looks at it, he notices that flying out of that cloud, a couple of 100 feet away, not really that far away now, are 2 large creatures with enormous wings and draconic style heads and tails that end in a stinger.
Uh-oh.
They are sort of bluish gray and white. They have a sort of mottled pattern where if you're not looking at them just at the right angle, they look like they almost blend in with the cloud. And so if you roll me a history check, I can tell you whether you have come into contact
Okay.
or heard of these things before.
I rolled a 12, and my history bonus is +4, so
Okay.
16.
Actually, you know that these are Storm Wyverns or Wyverns, depending on how you choose to
Wyvern,
pronounce it. They
Okay.
are like terrestrial wyverns. They obviously fly. You're watching them fly right now, but they are close cousins. But these happen to live on rocky areas on small islands in the ocean, and they tend to follow storms so that they can then pick off whatever creatures are thrown off balance by the storm. And they are flying toward the ship very quickly. And
Those are
that,
totally friendly to us.
oh sure, yeah,
Sure.
they're just gonna, say hi as they fly by. And that brings us to the second round, and it turns out Axley actually is first as well.
Okay. I'm going to orient the curiosity on the 2 that aren't entangled on that side,
Okay.
and I'm going to try the other button.
Okay, so you turn the curiosity away and face it towards the rear part of the ship.
Yeah.
Because the other 2 are entangled already. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're gonna try the I button. Okay.
Mm.
All right. So that's not the book I wanted. Too much stuff on my desk, like I said. Let's just All right. I need you to roll me a D10.
D10. Okay. 5.
Okay. So, roll me 3d8.
7 and 11 total.
Okay. All right. So I need to make a con save for these poor creatures. It's a DC 16 con save. No. No, I rolled a 5 and a 2. See, you should be happy that I'm using new dice. These dice don't know me yet, and they're rolling under a 6 every time. So they both failed. So what did you roll? An 11 total?
Yes.
That is necrotic damage. So you see, when you press that button, the slot that the same slot that steam cone came out of, sort of a bigger spot right above it opens up, a little panel moves aside, and a ray comes out and moves in a 20-foot line, and it hits both of these creatures and does 11 necrotic damage to them. Would you like to do anything else?
Yeah, I'm gonna, for a move, I'm gonna lift the curiosity up into the air. I'm gonna point with one of the claws towards the cloud, and I'm gonna yell, "Incoming!"
Okay, you all see the curiosity fly up, and you hear a booming voice coming over. It's sort of magically transported out of the curiosity as if he's using a bullhorn, and he says, "Incoming!" And you see the claw of the curiosity point towards what looks like a cloud formation.
Is he pointing behind me or the other side of the ship?
He's pointing. So you moved over. He's pointing behind you.
And how many? I saw
Okay.
2 storm wyverns. Is that what you said? I
Yep.
saw 2 of them.
Yep.
And that's what I'll say. 2 storm wyverns.
All right, and then it is Konos' turn.
Okay. Can I see from where I am? Can I see the wyverns and how close they are at this point?
Now that he has pointed them out, you can see them. They are. What's their speed? They are probably 100 feet away, and at the rate that they are flying, you estimate they'll be here in 2 rounds, 10 to 12 seconds.
Okay. Then I will. So first, I'll maintain concentration on the black tentacle spell,
Okay.
and then I will just aim 2 eldritch blasts at the at the at the closest wyvern I can see.
Okay.
First attack's a natural 20.
Okay, that hits.
And then the second attack is 7 plus. Second attack is a 16.
That hits.
Okay. So the first attack is 21 damage. The second attack is 12, so 33 total. And does the ship have a crow's nest?
It does.
Okay.
It's on the aft mast.
I would like to fly. Well, yeah, I'd like to fly towards that and just kind of perch
Okay.
up on top of there for now.
What's your fly speed?
60 feet.
60? You can probably make it to there, no problem.
Okay.
Okay. All right. That is Konos's turn. Let me move you here. I thought about maybe doing roll 20 for this, but then everybody told me, oh yeah, roll 20 is having some really bad problems because everybody's on it. So I just decided to not expend my energy doing that. So here's the current situation before these creatures go. There are still 8 of these creatures. Now they're all on the ship. They're no longer climbing up. Other than the 2 that are kind of stuck on the tentacles, they are sort of in halfway crawling over and halfway stuck. The other 6 of them are on the ship. That means they're inside the railing. 2 of them are up by Imran on the main deck. 2 on that same side are engaging in goblins. 2 on the other side in the back are engaging in goblins, or with goblins. Okay, and so they're going to attack the goblins. Also, there are 2 Storm Wyverns that are 100 feet away right now, flying towards you. Let's figure out these goblins. Okay. One of the goblins dies. Another of the goblins dies. The 2 goblins on the left side of the ship have now been killed. Third goblin is dead. Fourth goblin dead. The creature that is in front of Imran swipes at Imran with a claw. That's an 11. That does not hit. Swipes again with a claw. A 12. No hit. And then decides perhaps it would be better to open up its flaps and try to bite you. Wow, these dice suck. You dodge all 3 attacks. So here's the bad news. The bad news is all but 3 goblins have been slaughtered.
Yep.
And there are still 6 of these creatures alive and not stuck. The other 2 are stuck. They're going to roll saves right now, although one of them is going to attack that other goblin.
One of them is prone.
Yeah, that one stood up. That's the one that attacked you.
Okay.
So the two that are stuck take 6 damage.
Okay. Okay. And they kill that other goblin. So now there's only 2 goblins alive.
God.
What does Konos? What does one of those have to do to get out of that?
They can make either a strength or dexterity check on their turn as their action to try to escape.
One of them has an action left. So what's the DC on that?
17.
Okay. I rolled a 19. So one of them gets free.
So he can move. It's difficult terrain, but he can move.
Yeah. He moves away. The other one is still stuck in there because it attacked and killed that goblin.
Okay.
And the only good news also is that Sharkface now has shaken off his stupor, and he will go.
Sharkface, unleash the power.
He'll go at the end of the round. after Imran goes. The Storm Wyverns fly till they are about 20 feet from the ship, and they are still flying towards you, but that's as far as they get. They are now 20 feet away, and they are about 50 feet in the air. So they flew up and they went up so they could get a better view. So they are 50 feet high above the deck and 20 feet away. And now it is Imran's turn. Imran, you are standing next to Sharkface, who just finally shook off his stupor, and there is a really horrible flower-mouthed creature in front of you on the deck, now standing because it's no longer prone. What would you like to do?
The one that was prone,
Yes.
I'm going to cast Inflict Wounds. So
Okay.
I'm going to try to reach out and grab it.
That was the one that tried to give you a kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's a D4? Okay, 14.
Okay, that hits.
So this is 3d10.
Ouch.
9, 1. So 18 points of
18.
damage.
Okay, that was number 3.
To the one I did 41 points of damage to.
Yeah. Ouch. Still up.
God.
It's looking very ragged.
Bonus action, spiritual weapon.
Okay.
Right behind it.
All right. Roll your attack roll.
That's better. 24 to hit.
That hits.
And that's 7 points of damage.
Still up.
God! A couple of these things out. And then I'm going to yell up to Konos, we might need backup from your tribe.
Okay. Anything else?
That's it. I'm going to stay where I'm at.
Yeah. Marcel.
So mad at me.
Marcel, you're 30 feet up on the right side of the ship with 2 Storm Wyverns breathing down your neck.
Behind me.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to dissuade these guys that this is a bad idea. Yeah, I'm going to Chaos Bolt the Wyvern that is closest.
Okay. That's the one that already got hit by Konos.
It's going to be 19 plus 8, 27.
That hits. Once again, when we get to the point where a 27 doesn't hit.
All right, give me some good damage, Chaos Bolt. That's going to be, let me see, my options are Psychic and Fire. Considering I'm going to go for Psychic. So it takes 16 psychic damage.
Okay.
Bad Wyvern, keep flying. It's a bad idea to stay here. And then as a bonus action, I am going to grab my sword and toss it down towards the one that Emran was hitting that seems to not want to die. I'm going to shout, go dance and kill that shit!
Okay.
And I'll have that attack it for 28 to hit.
That hits.
Oh, for max damage.
All right.
So that's math. 13 piercing damage.
Okay. As the sword slices into it, you see the skin of the creature as the sword slices in, the skin sort of peels back, and it looks like fish, like fit as if you were filleting a fish.
Oh, cool.
And it falls down, and the sort of flaps that are over its mouth sort of start shriveling up, and it turns into, it dies, okay, and it sort of reverts to this other form where it's kind of half human, half fish. So sort of the top half of the body is kind of fish, and that's what the sword cut into, and it looked like fillet of fish. And not the McDonald's sandwich fillet of fish, but the actual like filleting a fish, just to be clear. And the bottom half is like legs, like a human would have legs.
I'm just imagining that image of a fish with female legs. Great. Well,
So, yeah.
I guess we know what we're having for dinner.
So it is dead now.
There we go. Finish it off for you. And I'm going to. I am going to fly to the crow's nest where
Kronos is. Okay.
And land there, just in case.
All right. Sharkface runs up the steps.
Bye.
What happened?
I thought he was gonna help me fight this other one, but I guess not.
Well, Marcel killed the one, so
it's fine. I
You only have one left.
can handle it.
So Sharkface runs up the steps to attack the one that is on that forecastle still, and
to be fair, his crew is doing a lot worse than you are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I don't blame him.
I should probably just leave my dice out. They might.
If those were your deckhands, you'd be going to help them too.
That's true.
Yeah.
You would, I hope. Sharkface attacks. Ooh. He must still be suffering from whatever it was that they did to him, because he doesn't do anything.
He's suffering from your new dice.
Yeah, he's suffering from my new dice. Wow, this really is bad. Whew. Okay, I thought this was going to be a difficult battle, but well, it's not over yet, I guess. Okay,
Yeah.
so Axley.
Okay. So the two wyverns are 50 feet above the deck, hovering above the deck.
They're 50 feet above the deck, and they're 20 feet away so far.
20 feet away. Okay.
Yeah.
And how close are they together? Are they staying in a group?
Yeah, I mean they're next to each other.
Next to each other. Okay. All right. So how far away are they from me and the Curiosity? I mean, I'm flying above the deck, probably somewhere 30 to 40 feet.
You're above the deck, but you're on the other side because you had just attacked the ones on the left side. So the deck is 20 feet wide. So you're probably 40 feet distance, but they're 50 feet up. So, you know, you're.
So can I do a move first to get closer?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I will get within about 20 feet of them.
Okay.
Okay. And then I am also going to cast the Destructive Wave.
Okay.
From inside the Curiosity.
Okay. So you're going to have Blacksley pilot it while you sort of stick your head above, out of the.
I don't think I need to stick my head out, because it's just from where I am, it radiates 30 feet out, and any creatures I choose that are in that radius take damage.
Is it a point of origin, or is it 30 feet out from you? Because
it's
you're
range self, 30-foot radius.
Yeah, so you're in the Curiosity. If you cast it while you're in, your whole body's in the Curiosity, it'll affect the Curiosity too.
So it damages everything around me if I choose it not to. because it says it just affects creatures, right? So
What's the spell? Let me read it actually.
destructive wave.
Destructive.
Let's see. Every creature you choose within 30 feet must succeed that constitution saving throw. It's divine energy that goes outwards.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you do it then. I wasn't thinking of it as divine energy, but yeah, so okay. So you're using radiant or necrotic?
I think it does both. It does.
Well, it does
see.
thunder, and then it does radiant or necrotic.
As well as, oh, I see. Radiant. I'll just do radiant.
Okay. All right. So what's the spell save DC for you?
$15.
Okay. So here's the first one. It's a con save.
It is, yes.
That one made it. And so did that one.
Okay. So then it takes half.
Okay, so roll your damage.
Okay, so let's do, I guess I still have to do 5d6. Okay.
These creatures.
19 for the first 5, so half of that.
Okay.
And 17 for the other, so half of that.
Okay. So basically 18 total.
Does it look like they took the full brunt of that thunder damage?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well, they took the full brunt of the radiant for sure. The thunder looked like it affected them, but it's hard to tell from this far away. They happen to have a really good con save. It's a good thing too because they're flying, so if you knock them prone, they would go.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
I think that was the idea.
Yeah. So here's the thing, though. You cast the spell, and the sword that has been stored on a pillow in the back of the Curiosity is glowing bright purple right now after you cast that spell. And Blacksley is like tugging on your shirt, like, hey, Axley, and he's trying to tell you to look at that. And he's getting real freaked out by that. Okay. Is there anything else you would like to do on your turn?
Tell Blacksley to help.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell him to man the weapons. Can he use the weapons levers? The claws?
Sure. Sure, if you'll let me.
Go for it.
Okay, he sits down and starts pulling the levers and playing with them and trying to figure out what they do. Konos.
Okay, continue to maintain concentration on the black tentacles. Of the 5 or 6 that are left on the ship of these creatures, on the ones in the back, so I got a spell that's another like 20-foot radius sphere spell. So how many of these creatures could I catch in that without hitting Sharkface or any of the goblins?
Probably 3.
Okay. I will target those 3, and I'm going to cast Synaptic Static.
Okay. And what does that do?
A 20-foot radius sphere blast of psychic energy. Each creature in the sphere has to make an intelligence saving throw.
Ugh.
If they have an intelligence of 2 or lower, they are not affected by this.
No, they have a bigger intelligence than that.
I'm just rolling damage here. On a failure, they take 33 points of psychic damage, and half on a success.
Okay, what's the DC?
17 intelligence.
Fail. Fail.
Okay, and
Fail.
because
They all
you're
failed.
they all fail. Okay, and because and I'm sorry to compound your dice woes, but the ones that fail for the next minute, they subtract a d6 from every attack roll, ability check, and concentration concentration saving throw they have to make for the next minute.
Okay.
And then they can save at the end of their turns to shake that off.
So how much damage did you do? 33?
33 psychic to the 3 of them. And are there any still by Emran?
Yep, one right next to her.
I will fly down from the crow's nest and land kind of on the other side, so basically flanking.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So for the next minute, did you say, or for the next round?
For the next minute.
Okay, for the next minute, they take a negative d6 to all of their stuff, basically.
Yeah, basically all
Okay.
attack rolls and ability
Okay.
checks. Everything but saving throws.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, that was painful. Okay. Well, it is now their turn. The first thing that is, well, let me. Yeah, let's have them go first. So the one that is stuck in the tentacles is going to try to save to get out of that, and fails miserably. Ugh, that sucked.
Okay, and he takes 13 bludgeoning damage.
Ouch, 13. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a blender of tentacles just smacking at him while he's stuck in there.
Yeah, he's not too happy about that. All right. I think the goblin in the front's gonna be toast. Yeah, he's toast.
Mm-hmm.
And these two are gonna move to this goblin, but they take a negative d6 to their roll. Oh, and I rolled a 6, of course. Yeah, that goblin got really lucky. You saved the life of a goblin, Konos.
Huzzah!
The one that is in front of Imran is going to try to claw bite again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. A 3 and a 4, and then, though, a 20. I rolled a 14, so it's not a natural 20. But the last attack hits you, which is a bite attack.
Mm-hmm.
You take, ouch, 8 damage. And the thing, as it goes to bite you, it opens up its weird, like, fleshy lip things, its flower petal opening, whatever you call that.
Sure.
And when it bites you, it actually creates a suction. So now it's stuck to you.
Good.
All right. And now the wyverns.
Point of order.
Yes.
Concentration. What do I have to roll to save? For bless, to keep bless up.
So you only took 8 damage, right? So
Yeah, so it's just a Constitution saving throw.
Yeah.
You are still blessed, so that counts. And you have to roll a 10 or higher.
Yeah, I rolled a
so
9,
it's
even with the bless.
With bless.
I rolled a 7 plus 1 as my modifier plus 1 on the bless.
Ah, that sucks.
it's
Yeah.
always it's a DC 10 or the damage, whichever
That's
is
what I thought. I
Half
just
the damage.
figured I'd
half the
double
damage, whichever
check
is,
and-
but it's whichever is higher, right? It's whichever is higher. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Sorry.
So, sorry guys, bless is dropped.
Darn.
I'm just so startled by the fact that it is now like stuck to my arm that I drop
That's
it.
fair.
The wyverns
Decide it's not a good idea to attack us and leave?
no,
Yeah.
one of them dives straight down and goes right into the ocean.
Oh god.
Just
Oh, interesting. The
uh
one we attacked or the other one?
the one you attacked. The other one flies to the ship. Let's see. How actually you said that the Curiosity was how high? 20 feet above?
Well, and I moved up to be able to get to them. So I was probably like 30 to 40 feet up, but then I moved up closer. So I'm probably about the same height that they were, about 50 feet.
Okay. So the wyvern is going to fly under the Curiosity to get closer to the ship. So it flies so that it's only about 10 feet above where the ship is, and it flies basically next to the ship, but it's 20 feet above the deck. And it opens its mouth.
And says, "Hi,
Yeah, right, yes.
how you doing? Want to be friends?"
Karu, I love your optimism.
I'd rather tame one of these than kill them, to be fair.
You know, the Greater Ring of the Blue Plateau that I got has Dominate Monster on it, but it can only be used for water elementals.
Oh.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, and I was like, nope, not quite.
My cat has decided that my dice rolling area is a great place to sit in.
Okay. It is on there. All right, so it aims in such a way that it is going to try to breathe on Konos, Imran, and Sharkface, all 3 of you.
Mm-hmm.
It also then
Konos
will...
was on the... Wasn't he in the crow's nest?
Oh,
Yeah, then I flew down next to Imran.
He flew down to...
okay.
Yeah. And it will also get the creature that is actually attached to Imran.
Hey.
It opens its mouth, and out of its mouth spews a cloud of what looks like little miniature storm wyverns, and they sort of fly down, and it's almost like little teeny tiny needles with wings. It's like little tiny itty bitty shaped, like needles shaped almost like wyverns, but they're made of coral. And everyone needs to make a DC 15 dexterity save.
Ooh, that's not good. Nope. That's a 10.
You just hear Marcel from the top going like, wait, aren't they supposed to spew lightning?
23.
Okay, so Konos made it. Imran, no.
Nope, that's a 10.
Marcel.
This is gonna hurt.
Marcel's not
I'm up
in
in
it.
the crow's nest.
Okay, let me make the creatures save. No. Okay, so here's what happens. If you failed your save, you take 27 piercing damage, and you are blinded for 3
Oh,
rounds.
Ooh.
Ouch.
If you succeeded on your save, you take half, so half of 27 would be 13, and then you are not blinded. And after it gets, let's see, does this kill this other one? No. It is blinded.
Do breath
Oh.
weapons count as spells for the purposes of like spell protection, stuff like that?
No.
As a reaction,
They're not like a caster, huh?
Correct. It's a natural effect, not a spell cast. Say that again, Imran.
as a reaction, can I use my Wrath of the Storm to nope, just kidding, it has to be within range.
What's range?
5 feet.
Oh, yeah, it's not that close to you. Although there is one thing that we forgot. We forgot that creature has disadvantage, not the wyvern, but the actual thing that's sucked onto you. It has disadvantage. So I'm going to re-roll its attack roll. The one that hit.
Okay.
And that would be a 15. So I think it actually missed you.
That
So
actually would miss.
So you didn't take, so I don't normally retcon, but revert that 8 damage, and also it means you didn't lose concentration.
Oh. Okay. So I still have bless up?
Yeah.
Did you just take damage now, though, from the wyvern?
Yes, you still take damage now from the wyvern. Because what reverted was the other creature that had created a suction.
Yeah. And even if I had rolled a d4, I rolled a 10 and it wouldn't have saved anyways. So.
Yeah, the DC is really high on there.
Yeah.
So.
But you need another concentration check now for keeping blessed.
Yeah, for that one.
Yep,
yeah.
That's right. And
that DC is a 13.
Okay, that's 22.
Okay, yes, you made it. At the end of that whole set of events, you see on the other side of the ship, the wyvern flies out of the water and is now hovering on the other side.
Okay.
And now it is officially Imran's turn. Don't forget you still have spiritual weapon up as well.
I do. I do. I guess I'll just hit the one that's I kind of knew was in front of me to begin with.
The wyvern or the other weird
No,
creature?
the creature. I'm
Okay.
still trying to just take out these things. These are gonna be an issue. So if I'm blinded,
Yes.
spiritual weapon has disadvantage.
Do you have to see where you want spiritual weapon to attack?
I think so. If I pull it up really fast. I guess not. It doesn't say anything about having to see anything. Lost back.
Okay.
You can move the weapon 20 feet, repeat the attack. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about seeing.
When it says where you place it, does it say within line, with the creature that you can see or within line of sight? Okay, that's fine. You can have it do something then.
Okay. With disadvantage, because I can't see where I'm moving it?
No, I'm saying you just
Okay,
make
just
it,
straight roll.
yeah, pretend like it's a separate attack.
Sorry. Where did it go?
I guess
That's
it's more like you
60.
tell it what to attack and it has its own thing
Okay,
going on
yeah,
because it's a symbiote.
Yeah.
Gotcha. 16 to hit.
Attacking the creature in front of you?
Yes,
Yes, that hits.
the fish face.
The fish face.
That's a 4 damage.
Okay.
Not to be confused with sharkface.
The fish face with legs.
What else are you doing?
I think. God, that hurt a lot. Did Sharkface make his save? Do I know this?
You have no idea.
Okay. This kind of changes what I thought I was gonna do. You know,
Yeah.
no, Conus is too close. I think I'm just gonna have to do a quick cure wounds on myself
Okay.
because I'm hurting pretty bad. So yeah, I'm just gonna yell to Konos, I cannot see anything. Please don't leave. And cast cure wounds at 2nd level.
Okay.
So 9 points healed.
Is that with your con bonus?
Yes.
Marcel, what would you like to do? You are currently in a crow's nest.
Yeah. So there's a wyvern on either side of the ship, basically.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well, one of them was hurt, so we're going to concentrate on that one. And why not? Let's send another chaos bolt at it.
Okay.
That was going to be an 11, and then it moved. Hold on. I still have my inspiration, so that's going to be...
And a d4, because I still
And
have
a d4, which I rolled a 1 on it, so that's okay. That's going to be
well.
20 to hit.
That hits. That hits.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see what kind of damage this one does. Ooh, I almost rolled 2 the same numbers. That would have been cool. All right, lightning and poison. Since these things look like they like the lightning, we're going to go with poison.
Okay.
And it's going to do 14 poison damage.
Okay.
Someday I will have a Chaos Bolt that sparks to the next enemy. Someday. And I'll have my sword attack the fish person that's beside Emran. Another 4. With 1, so that's 5 plus 9, 14.
That hits.
Excellent. I love it when things hit. And that's going to be 8 damage.
Okay. All right.
And in Primordial, I'll scream at the one that's most injured and go, we're not good food for you. You might want to leave now.
Okay. That happens to be the one that you just attacked. It's the most injured
Yeah.
right now.
Yep. So I'm just like, you better rethink your things here. You want to live? Get the fuck out of here.
Okay. And then Sharkface gets to go. And Sharkface hopefully won't suffer from my dice again. One of them will hit. Actually, 2 of them hit. So he gets multi-attack. All right, he might take this one out. Let's see. Yes, he takes that one out. Okay, Sharkface killed one.
Yay!
Yeah.
And he then runs across to the one that is trapped. And then it is the top of the round, so it is Axley's turn.
Okay, I'm going to maneuver the Curiosity within 20 feet of one of the Wyverns.
Okay.
Well, I guess I need to be closer if it's going to be in claw range, right? What's claw range?
Yeah, it's 5 feet. It's right next to it. You have to actually be right next to it.
Okay. All right. So I'll get close in, and then so Blacksley can use the claws, and I am going to cast psychic or psionic blast on that Wyvern.
Okay. What does Psionic
And
Blast do?
I'll use a 4th level slot. So it is a range of 30 feet. Unleash a destructive wave of mental power in a 30-foot cone. Each creature in the area must make a dex save. On a failed save, you take 5d8 plus an additional d8 for each spell slot above 3rd. It's pushed 20 feet away and is knocked prone.
Okay,
that's if it fails.
Okay, what's the spell save DC?
Let's see here. Let's see. Mine is 15 for spell save DC.
And is it what kind of save is it?
The dex.
Okay. It fails miserably.
Okay, so
only because I rolled low.
It's going to get pushed 20 feet away and knocked prone, and I do 68.
So did you come up behind it or in front of it?
Oh, behind it's better. Always hit from behind, preferably if it's sleeping.
Well, because that'll push it onto the boat when it goes prone.
Oh, okay.
So that I'm just letting you know.
Into the black tentacles?
No, it's on the other side. So how much damage does it take first?
26 total.
Okay. Okay. And it gets pushed 20 feet and then knocked prone.
Yes.
Okay. I need Imran and Konos and this creature to make a dex save. DC 10.
Am I at disadvantage because I'm blind? I don't even.
Uh,
12.
I would
I can't
assume that
see this coming.
if Konos says "get out of the way," you're
Yeah,
just
like,
gonna go
move.
in whatever
Okay,
direction.
okay.
If I see this crashing, I'm like, get it, like duck.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
It's a 15.
okay.
We're all good.
I got 12.
So which way do you scatter? So the
Jeez.
the choices are either up towards where Sharkface was, down closer to where Konos was, or across to the other side of the ship. That's basically the choices.
I probably stick with Konos.
Okay. So Konos, you're scattering back.
Yeah, I would move back probably about towards the back part of the ship.
Okay. So Konos and Imran are now back towards the back part of the ship. And that Storm Wyvern slams into the hull, or not the hull, the deck of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And takes some damage from that. Okay. Axley, anything else?
Well, I guess it's not in range anymore for the claws, but maybe it could use the beam. He can use the beam to shoot something.
So he presses the beam button and nothing happens.
Okay.
It just goes click, click, click. Are you gonna move?
I maneuvered to get into position
Okay.
for the.
Okay.
Yeah.
Konos, what would you like to do?
All right. I think it was Dave raised a good point a little bit ago. Have any of the Hoka followed us out here? Or did we just come up by ourselves?
They followed you, but you flew really fast in the Curiosity, and they're sort of, it's only been 4 rounds, so it's only really been like a half a minute,
Okay.
right?
So they're just they're on their way, but
yeah, they're on their way, but they're a while away. So
okay, all right. Okay, so the one on the ground is prone. I'm gonna move actually back towards the wyvern that crashed on the deck.
okay,
I'm gonna cast Booming Blade on it.
okay.
So with Boehm. Ooh, that's not good. Let's see.
It's good for me.
It's good that I have a plus 11 to hit on this. So that's a dirty 20.
Yeah, that hits.
All right. So that is okay. Dice. 7 points of thunder damage.
Okay.
And 11 points of piercing damage. And if it moves from where it is, it will take another 2d8 thunder.
Now, how close are you to it right now?
So I got up to adjacent to it in melee range to stab
So
it.
you are adjacent to it. Okay.
Yes. But I am going to, if I have like at least 5 feet of movement left, I'm going to move back like say 10 feet backwards.
Okay.
So it does get an opportunity attack if it wants it.
Of course it does.
Okay, I am going to use a reaction to use my entropic ward, so I impose disadvantage on this attack roll.
God. Okay.
There was a plan.
Mhm.
Beautiful plan.
13.
Misses. So
Okay.
my next attack roll against it has advantage if I make it before the end of my next turn.
Okay. Damn it. Okay.
We're
good.
level 10. We have lots of cool stuff
Yeah,
we use now.
I know.
So I'm using it.
All right, that was Konos. And now it is everyone else's turn, the creatures. So Um, right now, the current situation is there are 2 of these creatures attacking the goblin on the back of the ship.
Mm-hmm.
There is a third one that is going to run up to Imran right now.
Great. Love
Okay.
that.
There is a fourth one, the one that was previously stuck in Konos's tentacles. He is going to run over to Konos.
Oh,
The
he got
other,
out.
huh?
Oh, this is the first one that,
The
that
first
got
one.
out.
One of them got out, right? The other one is
Yeah.
still sort of engaging with Sharkface.
Okay.
And then the other one, let's see. So there's only 3, 4. There's 5 left.
Mhm.
One of them is stuck, and it's going to try to get out. How much damage does it take first before it gets out? Because it's starting its turn in there.
9 points of bludgeoning damage.
Okay. Okay. God. It does not get out. And okay, so Imran, you are blind, but
Mhm.
you hear this creature walking up behind you, and because you're blind, it actually gets advantage on its attack rolls.
Mhm.
So good lord. So 17, 14, 14.
The 14s miss, the 17
Okay.
hits.
You are going to take 10 damage.
Ow.
Yeah.
Are either of those the ones I hit with the synaptic static earlier?
No.
Okay.
Because that was the two in the back.
Yeah. Okay.
The other one is going to come up to you, Konos, and attack. It does not get advantage because you are not blind. Good lord. I rolled a 1, a 3, and a 6.
Those all miss.
God. Okay. You should all be praising my dice right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also made my concentration save, so Bless is still up.
Okay.
I would like to use my reaction now that I didn't get a chance to use before.
Okay.
DC 15 Dex saving throw for the one that hit me,
And
or it takes 2d8 lightning damage.
okay. What is this reaction that you have?
This is my Wrath of the Storm.
Okay. Do you have to see to be able to do it?
Yes. God
Okay,
dang it.
so
Never mind.
so this will be your second round blinded. So
Yep.
um
Wait, second round?
yeah, because you were blind. You're blinded for 3 rounds, right? Didn't I roll a 3?
Yeah.
I'm counting the first. I counted when you became blinded as the round you became blinded.
Okay.
Now the Storm Wyverns are, one of them is on the ground in front of Konos. It stands up and it is going to try to bite you and rolls an 18.
That hits. Is it moving toward me to bite me?
It's no, because you didn't move away. Did you move away?
Yeah, I moved like 10 feet away.
Oh, okay. Then yes, it moves towards you.
Okay, so that's when the second part of the booming blade goes off, or only for 5 thunder damage though.
Okay.
Okay, and then
Okay.
the 18 hits on the bite.
Okay. The bite does 13 piercing damage. Then it tries to claw you. Ooh, I rolled a 17 on the die, so that's going to hit. And the claw does 22 damage, slashing.
Ouch.
And then it tries to hit you with its stinger
Uh-oh.
on its tail, but I think it misses. That's a 15.
Yeah, misses.
Okay. The second wyvern that is flying above the ship opens its mouth. Actually, no. It's going to swoop down, and it's going to attack Imran and the creature that's next to Imran.
Okay.
So, let me see here.
I made both my concentration throws to keep black tentacles up.
Okay. The first attack is a bite, which is going to attack Imran, and I
Okay.
rolled a natural 1. The second attack is a claw, which is attacking the other creature. Oh, of course, I rolled an 18. And the third attack is attacking Imran with the stinger,
Mhm.
and I rolled a nat 20.
Oh,
Can I use my reaction?
Oh, good.
How does your reaction work?
I would want to use cutting words to boom over the loudspeaker at that creature and basically give it a disadvantage. What would it do? It would.
Can you do that on somebody
Uh,
else's turn, or is it just when you've been
That's what
attacked?
I'm asking. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh, so
Yeah.
let's find out.
Yeah, you can.
It's a reaction, so
But I just mean for that particular power, if it had any.
Okay, so what I can do is I can use my bardic inspiration die to subtract from its to hit roll.
Okay.
So I will do that. So D10, roll high, roll the 6.
Okay, so altogether it was a 27, so that's still a 21. Because I rolled
Oh,
a nat
Jesus.
20.
Boy.
yep. Yep.
Yeah.
That's fine. I
So
can take it.
it still hits, but at least it's not a crit. So
Okay.
Oh,
um,
okay.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
so let me resolve it hitting the other thing first.
That's fine.
It hit with the claw. So the other creature dies.
Cool.
Okay. And it does the same thing that first one did, where when this thing slashed its claws through it, it sort of started to transform almost immediately back into this weird half fish, half human thing. And everywhere where it's got a cut is almost like a fish has been filleted.
Sure.
So that one's dead.
Uh-huh.
And so you got hit with the stinger. I need you to make me a DC 15 Constitution save, please.
Mm-hmm.
roll a 4 on that blast.
Nope. Even with a 4, it's still only a 10.
Ooh.
So
I am not doing so hot, y'all.
you take 16 piercing damage
Uh-huh.
plus
Oh.
9 poison damage,
Mm-hmm.
and you will take 2d6 poison damage every round for the next 4 rounds. But you can try to save at the end of each of your turns.
Dear Lord. Okay, what did you say? I'm sorry, 2d6?
So 2d6, you'll take 2d6 poison damage at the end of at the beginning of each turn, but you can attempt to save at the end of each turn.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Basically, it
Okay.
punctured you with its tail, and it pumped a
Mhm.
bunch of venom into you. So you just took 16 plus 9.
Yeah, 25.
Yeah.
25. I am.
Hurting, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not good.
Do we have lesser restoration in this party?
I do, but the problem is Konos is dying too.
And now it's Konos is dying too. Really?
No,
He's
I
okay.
mean, I'm taking damage, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm probably better off than you are, because
Yeah.
you're blinded and poisoned now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But however, the weird flower mouth fish half creature
Yeah,
is
that guy's
dead.
gone.
That was next to you. It is now Imran's turn, actually.
Which means poison damage.
Yeah. So, yeah. You take 8 poison damage.
That is how many hit points I had left.
Oh,
Crap.
I'm down.
you all see Imran fall to the ground. So
God.
make a save for the poison right now.
And fucking save.
So that's yeah, make the save, because otherwise when it does the damage at the beginning of your next round,
Yep.
it's 2 failed death saves.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I technically don't have bless up, do I?
No,
No,
you failed
anymore.
the
that
concentration
fails.
check, or you're unconscious.
Now it's gone. Yeah.
So it's a DC 15 con save against that
13.
poison.
13.
Anybody have anything that can help?
Nope.
Okay. You need to make a death save for the end of this turn.
From that one.
Oh God.
Oh, that's 2 failed
Shit.
saves.
I have healing word, but I can't
Actually-
cast that, right?
You
Well,
can
on your turn
you
you
can
can.
cast it on your turn. Your turn will happen before she has another turn.
I don't have
Yeah.
a backup character, guys.
Yeah, Axley is Emran's only hope right now because she's.
Please, please.
Okay, that was Imran's turn. Marcel, you see
That was
Imran
the
fall
worst.
to the deck.
That was
Yep.
the worst.
Yep, I'm basically Axley. The fuck over here. So there's a wyvern. Is the wyvern by Emran the one that was hurt, or?
They're both hurt. They're both pretty damaged, actually.
Okay.
They've both been because the one that dove into the ocean was the one that Konos hit right off the bat, and Axley also damaged both of them, and then it dove under and came back up, and then it was damaged again by Axley.
Okay. So,
Actually, was smart to stay in the curiosity.
I am going to wind spell frostbite.
Okay, against the
I can twin spell
wyverns.
that one. Yeah, against the 2 wyverns. So that's going to be a Constitution saving throw. These guys have a high Constitution. I forgot about that.
Yep,
well,
they do.
Whatever. Hopefully they fail.
Okay.
I want them to have disadvantage on their attacks.
What's the 16? Okay, here's my first roll.
Come on, roll low.
A 7 plus 6 is 13, so
Okay.
fail. And then the second one, a 9 plus 6 is 15.
They both fail. So they both have disadvantage on their attacks
Okay.
for the next turn. And they take, oh, that was shitty damage. 6 cold damage.
Okay.
And that was 1. And then I'm going to
roll a perception check for me.
Sure. My perception continues to be shitty today. That is a 9.
Okay. All right.
All right. And then 2 sorcery points. Okay. So then I'm going to cast Quicken Spell, and the wyvern that is by Emran is going to get a 4th level Chaos Bolt on him.
Okay.
Fuck that one in particular.
Please kill it. Please. Let this be over. I was so excited.
Okay, so that was 17 plus 8, so I'm going to assume that hits.
That hits.
Let's see what kind of damage I roll. Psychic.
Okay.
And that was a 5th level, so I get 46 damage. Oh god. Okay. Hold on. Let me open my calculator.
Is that a good sign?
Yes.
Please kill it.
That's 33 psychic damage.
Holy
Nice.
God.
Any way you can scrape out one more point?
I mean, I could, but do I want to?
So it doesn't hit me.
I think the DM is giving you a hit.
Fuck it, sure, I'll do it. This is a gamble because it could be less. It was 1 point less.
Oh.
So instead of 33, it's 32.
But what is that the same kind of damage?
Yes, I can.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay.
That's the problem with the empowered spell. Yeah, you have to use the new roll.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Sharkface attacks the thing that is restrained in front of him. And oh my god. I rolled a 5, a 4, and a 2.
He has advantage on those because it's restrained.
Yeah, and another 4. God, okay, the other 2 hit though. And that means this thing might be going away. Yeah, it's gone. So Sharkface killed that one. So
Hey,
right
at least it has
now,
disadvantage on its attacks.
Hmm?
At least I gave disadvantage to both wyverns.
yeah. So right now, the only creatures that are so that was Sharkface's turn. Right now, the current situation is there are 2 wyverns on the boat.
Yep.
One of them is standing next to Konos, and there is also one of those weird flower mouth creatures next to Konos, and one of them is standing relatively near Imran. And there are 2 other flower mouth fish creatures at the back of the boat that just finished killing a goblin, the last living goblin.
Yep.
So that's the way that turn ends. It is now Axley's turn. So Axley, the situation is Sharkface just killed one of the creatures, and he is up in the front of the boat. Konos and a wyvern and one of the other creatures are on the main deck. A little bit towards the rear of the boat from them is Imran and another wyvern. And where is Marcel actually at? Are they still in the crow's nest? Okay, so
Yeah,
Marcel's
still
in the crow's nest, and there are 2 of these creatures in the back of the boat. So that's the current situation.
Okay. Then I'm gonna swoop down and hit the wyvern that's next to Emran with the claws from the Curiosity.
Okay, so roll me 2 attack rolls with a +6.
For each one.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a natural 1 with one and a 14 with the other. So,
Okay,
and
so
then
the
14.
The 14 will hit. So that's going to do 2d6 damage.
Okay.
And you're attacking the one near Imran?
Yeah.
Okay.
A 5 and a 3, so 8 points.
Okay. It is dead.
Okay. And then I'm going to cast Healing Word with a 4th level spell slot on Emran.
Okay. How much does that give her back?
So that'll give me 4d4.
Now, do you have to touch her to do that?
No, it's range 60.
It's range, okay.
Yeah. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 total.
Okay.
Okay.
11
I
hit
can survive my
points.
poisoning.
Yeah. Well, it's 2d6, so.
That's true. Don't roll too high.
Yep.
Actually, anything
you-
else?
Sorry, what'd you say?
No, I think that's my bonus action. So I think that's
Okay.
all I can do.
Konos.
Better to go down than die, though.
How many did I heal? 11?
11.
11.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So your death saves reset. Get you back up.
Uh-huh.
I was
That's
looking
fine.
at casting polymorph,
Actually, your
but
death saves don't reset until you take a long rest.
Really?
Yeah, you
I
technically
thought that
have.
was just 4th edition.
You
yeah,
have
no, they for 5th edition they come once as soon as you get hit points, they it resets.
Really?
Yeah,
That's what I
they
thought.
changed that. They made it a lot easier in 5th edition.
All right. Let me look.
Otherwise, I might.
That
not
tells you
do
how
it.
often I've knocked people down and actually,
Yeah.
because I don't
Yeah.
remember. It's not very common.
Yeah, in 4th edition it was long rest, so it was a lot more dangerous to go down.
We are so lucky you're rolling terribly, Sam. So lucky. Apologies, because I know it's really frustrating, but
No, I mean it is how it is, right? That I mean karma, right? This is how
Yeah.
it was meant to go. So you are
Well-
correct. The number of both is reset to 0 when you regain any hit points or become stable.
okay.
Aha. Okay. So good for you. Konos. No, I mean it is, right? I didn't want to kill.
Yeah.
I don't set out to kill characters. Konos.
Oh my God.
All right. I was looking at polymorph, but I actually have to. That's like the one evocation we were talking about that does require me to use a spell slot. So I'm already out of those. So I will use the bonus action to activate the tentacle rod, and I'm going to make 3 attacks at the wyvern near me.
Okay.
Ooh, first one is a natural 19.
That hits.
Second one is 13.
Total.
Yeah, 13
That
total.
misses.
And the second one is a 27 total.
You mean the third one?
Yeah, the third attack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
27
like-
hits. So the 2 on the outside hit. The one in the middle missed.
Okay, so it takes. So I'm trying to remember how to use if I get that my modifier this or not. Otherwise it's just 8 damage. Hang on. Too many things to look through. Okay, so yeah, so it's just 8 bludgeoning damage
Okay, for the first one.
total. Total.
Total.
Because it
8.
says eat. Yeah, so I rolled a 5 and 3. Each the tentacle does a
Ah,
just does a
okay.
d6. So I was just trying to tie it up.
Yeah.
But I have to hit with all 3 to do that.
Okay.
So.
Anything else?
That is my turn.
Okay. And now
I'll stay next to it.
now it is their turn. The 2 that are on the back of the ship run and jump off right into the water. Just.
Good. Okay.
The the wyvern that's in front of Konos, opens its mouth and spews forth a stream of needle-like tiny wyverns.
Mhm.
It's the wyvern with
And
bees in its mouth.
say that again.
It's the wyvern with bees in its mouth, and when
Yeah.
it barks and shoots bees at you.
And it's probably going to hit this first fish creature and Konos, but probably not Imran because I'm nice. Well,
I appreciate
because I don't know if you had moved, right? Because you were kind of in the middle, but then things happened and you moved to the back. So, like I said, because
Yeah.
it's theater of the mind, and I'm trying to be like, what would you naturally do? You would have moved as far away from the wyvern as possible, before you were struck down. So that's the call I'm making. But
Perfect.
that means that Konos
Sorry,
and the
Yeah.
other flower face creature have to roll a DC 15 Dex save.
Okay, and I'm like point blank at this too.
Yeah, you're like right in front of it.
Okay, 17.
That passes.
Mhm.
The other creature also passes, rolled a 19. This wyvern must be so hurt that it's not having a very easy time. However, you still take half damage. So
I just saw the Discord card.
11.
11.
Konos
11
takes
total.
11 damage. Yeah.
Okay.
I love it so much.
Oh, that's what they turn into basically.
That
Oh my
fish creature runs and jumps off the side of the ship. Konos, you can take an opportunity attack against it if you want, or you can just let it go.
I'll let it go.
Okay. The wyvern also attempts to sort of flap its wings and fly up and away, so you can.
I will attack that.
Yeah, I figured.
I'm really hoping I roll a natural 20 on this weapon one of these days. 16 to hit.
That hits.
Okay. Nine points of piercing damage.
Okay. Does not kill it. And it is Imran's turn.
I'm backing up as far as I possibly can go. I guess if I'm not dead from poison first.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. 8 damage.
I have 3 hit points. And I'm casting Cure Wounds at 4th level on myself.
Okay.
And that's my turn.
Marcel.
Save from the poison.
Oh yeah, save Imran.
Oh, yeah.
It's DC.
Now I save
15.
17.
Okay. Good. Great. So there's only one wyvern left, right? That's
Right.
trying to fly away.
Yes.
I told you, you guys should run away a while ago. I'm just gonna pew pew Eldritch Blast at it.
Okay.
Natural 19 and 18.
Nice.
It hits.
That's how you Eldritch Blast.
Yeah, see, the problem has never been hitting. I can hit shit with magic. I'm a
The
sorcerer. I know
damage.
how magic works. The problem is the damage.
Damage.
Double sixes. So
Hey, that's how you Eldritch Blast.
there we go.
There it is.
Okay.
The pointers from Konos is
And is my, because my sword was near one side of the middle of the ship, is it within 30 of the wyvern?
Yep.
All right, well, we'll bonus action go for it, because this is the last turn it can attack. That's gonna be 26 to hit,
That hits.
and we'll do 8 damage. And because it's the last turn, how high is the crow's nest?
It's probably 40 feet.
Okay, so because I've been keeping track, I'm gonna fly down like 10 feet from the crow's nest.
Okay.
So that, because now that it's done its 4th attack, it's
going to come back to you. Yeah.
It's gonna come back to me, but it can only move 30 feet. So it'll move up 30 feet. I'll move down 10 so that I can grab it and hold it. So now I'm like 10 feet below, just flying in the spot.
Okay.
30 feet above the ground.
Okay. Sharkface. Okay. You see Sharkface come running, and he looks like he's going to try and at the wyvern, and Sharkface jumps, and in mid-jump turns fully into a shark form and slams into the wyvern while trying to bite the hell out of it.
Sharknado.
And they both go into the ocean. And now we're out of combat.
Huh. Well, that was interesting. I'll fly down onto the ship deck.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, I'm gonna hobble over to like the side of the ship and like look and see if I can.
You
See
see the
that?
water
Does
roiling.
anyone need healing?
Oh no, I'm at full hit points.
Marcel flew around and never did anything. Actually stayed in
You
the
want-
curiosity the whole time.
Hey, I did a lot of damage.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You want another healing word for?
I'm actually okay now that I'm not poisoned. I'm at like a little less than half.
I've just been. Don't mind me. I've just been. I probably still have about 20 of these wyvern-shaped darts just sticking out of
Yeah.
me at this point. I look like a pufferfish, and
I
with
probably do
blood
too.
dripping
So
down me.
I was probably in my eyes at some point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd want to move over to the side of the ship and just keep an eye on the water. But yeah, I could use some healing. I'm at 17 hit points.
Okay. So I'll do a healing word at 3rd level. So 3d4
Thank you.
for 8 points.
Thank you. All right.
Actually, are you going to land the curiosity?
Yes.
um, Imran, you see a bunch of blood start to come up toward the surface of the water.
I'm gonna go with Emmer to the side, look down, and send a message down to Sharkface. You need help down there? Are you okay?
He responds with a biting and gnawing sound.
I think Sharkface is having dinner.
Yeah. I mean, in full shark form, he can't really speak. So.
Fair enough. Well, that's a pity. Those things were pretty from a distance, but you know, I tried to warn them to get out of here, and they didn't seem to understand primordial. So,
Is the sword still glowing purple?
Yes.
how many goblins survived?
None
One.
that were on the top deck.
Oh, good.
Oh boy.
That's
Marcel,
that's one.
is your necklace glowing purple?
No.
No.
I'm gonna look at the sword through the monocle. What's glowing?
When you look at the sword through the monocle, you see it looks like it has a shell around it, like a translucent globe, and it's giving off like a purple light inside the globe.
Now look at Blacksley through the monocle.
He's just sitting there now.
Just
Remember
sitting there.
before when you looked at him, you didn't see him at all, but now he's sitting there.
Okay.
Well, I'll sheath my sword. Do you think that was all the goblins?
I was gonna say, did we see the second Sharkface's second as the
Yeah.
Nana? As the Nana? I don't know how to pronounce that.
The only thing you saw out on the deck were the goblins and the and Sharkface.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm just gonna sit down for a while. I start picking little needles out of me.
A few minutes later, human climbs up the side of the ship. Wiping his mouth.
Mhm.
He
How was dinner? At this point, I'm probably just sitting on a crate or whatever.
yeah. He says, "Well, I wish it didn't have to be that way, but it was quite tasty. How are you?"
Oh, we're fine.
Speak for yourself.
I'm ouch. Just yeah, ouch.
Yeah, a
Teaching.
couple of us are a little roughed up.
Sorry about your crew.
Yeah, they weren't very well off anyway. There's I don't know, some kind of something, an affliction, I guess.
A curse.
This
Maybe.
attack seems to have the magical residue of Laralac all over it.
The what?
This attack,
Oh,
the creatures that attacked.
why do you say that? And
Does he seem to recognize the name Laralac?
I mean, he doesn't make any. He doesn't actually have a response to the name.
Okay. Interesting. So, oh, that's one question. We're on the deck of the ship. The deck of the ship before had the bunch of like eye marks on it, didn't it?
Yeah, it
the
did.
House of Atrum symbol.
Does it still have that symbol on it?
No.
Is this the same ship we had seen in Trostevere, or is this another ship?
It looks like it.
Okay. I see you scrub the deck.
Yeah, well, once we saw that it wasn't right, the transformations, they were killing everyone.
So you got rid of the symbol, but that didn't stop the transformation.
Not for the lot of them, no. I mean, I was already a lost cause. But my transformation doesn't kill me, and I can control it.
Interesting. Why did you use the symbol?
Well, we were promised lots of power
By whom?
by the boss.
The boss. That's
Yeah.
all you know.
Well, you know, the I was part of a pirate crew.
So a pirate boss,
Yeah.
which doesn't have a name, just the boss.
It's not important what their name is.
What species is the boss?
Human.
Does,
Is he a really old, creepy guy?
No. He's a big, fat, bearded, ugly guy.
that does not sound like Laralac at all.
Yeah.
But Laralac could make himself seem different, I guess.
What about the House of Adrim? Does that mean anything to you?
No, but Laralac does.
Oh,
You said you didn't recognize his name earlier.
No. No, he didn't say anything. He just
he
said,
didn't say that.
he said, why do
Oh.
you say that?
Oh, okay.
He didn't say, he didn't claim recognition or non-recognition.
Okay.
Well, it seems that you've raised their relaxed ire to the point that he's sending his minions out to destroy you, wherever you may be.
It's because I left the pirates.
And the pirates are all working for Laralac.
Well, they were all promised a bunch of power, and some of them got it, some of them didn't.
You didn't.
I did. Have you seen what I could turn into?
Okay, fair enough.
hmm
But your people didn't.
No, they all keep dying.
And yet you still have the power despite fleeing from Laralac.
Well, I guess once it's done, it's done. But if it wasn't done, then that's
Are
why
your
that's why I want your amulet.
What do you think the amulet can do?
Well, maybe since it has that power, it'll be
What power?
able to. Well, it's got that power of Laralac. That's the same
Far-
amulet that the captain had, that the pirate captain had. My
far
captain.
Far as I can tell, these amulets are more of a communication and transportation key. It's a way for Laralac to keep track of people.
Yeah, but doesn't it emanate his power? And if it emanates his power, maybe it'll finish the transformation and they won't just die.
Finish the transformation? You want them to turn into crabs? Or do you
crabs
want?
are-
Do you think the finished transformation is what you are, that they can transform back and forth?
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what happened to me. Why would it be any different for any of them?
Are they willing
Who?
followers of Laralac? Your crew.
We don't follow Laralac.
Well,
That's
if you're
your
not,
problem.
yeah,
But
we've
look at
been
me.
told.
And he sort of concentrates for a second, and then he turns into his hybrid form, where he's sort of half shark and half human.
The goblin that I took this from said that if you believed fully in Laralac, then you would be rewarded.
That's the same thing my pirate captain used to say.
What power did Laralac give your pirate captain?
I have no idea.
So do you think this is the same amulet that he had, or is it different? It's an identical one that Laralac gives to all of his
There's
lieutenants?
more than one. Yeah, he gives one to each of his lieutenants. I know that much. I also know if I use the powers of whatever powers this thing has, Laralac is going to be able to pinpoint on my location and know what I'm doing.
Well, the good news is we have options.
Wait. Maybe if you give it to me, we leave, and then he won't know where to find you then.
Where will
like
you
having
go?
it around my neck. I just put it back in my shirt.
Where will you go with it?
I don't care. Just to some island. I just want my people to be saved. You haven't been down to the lower decks, have you?
No.
Follow me.
Okay.
All of my bones crack as I get up.
To clarify, is this the same ship that we originally obtained the Curiosity and the other stuff from?
Yeah, it looks like
You've
it.
Okay.
been in there.
Oh, that's why I said no.
Yeah.
I don't want him to know that we've robbed his ship, although I'm sure he's figured it out by now since we parked the thing right on the top deck.
Yeah, we didn't steal anything from your ship, hides the curiosity.
Maybe he didn't know what it was.
He leads you downstairs, and
I'll follow.
there are hammocks strung all over, and in the hammocks are either dead men or dead goblins or men that are sort of in the middle of transformation into something. Usually they have crab hands at least, if not more. And the goblins are in the same state. And it smells really bad because half of them have died.
Have you considered getting rid of the dead people? Burial at sea?
I was hoping we could save them.
How? They're dead. And some of them seem to be rotting.
He turns to so that he could see all of you, and he says, "What happened to Lucanius?"
We took him back to our tent. I'm spacing on the name of the town. We took him back to Trask and Finn. Thank you. And left him in the care of one of some of the healers there.
And he didn't die, right?
As far as we know, he's survives. We don't know what state he's in, but
That's why
he
I
is
have
alive.
all of these people here.
Yeah, but he's alive, not dead.
They just died recently. Nobody wants to touch them to remove their bodies.
Ah, okay, there we go. I honestly don't think this amulet can do shit all for these people.
The island has blue goblins in the trees that seem to be created from these pods. Do you know anything about that?
Blacksley says, "Nuh-uh. They're all dead now."
Oh dear.
Well, they weren't part of this crew, obviously. I don't know. I look at the rest of the group like, do we want to try using the amulet?
If we do, I would think it would be to try to cure them and not, accelerate this. And I'll look right at the captain, and I will remove my scarf over my barnacled eye and said, "Captain, take it from one who has experience with something like this. Transformations like this, you probably can't control them. I've had this for months. I have no idea what it is or what it's going to do to me, but I don't think I want it to finish growing more. And I think I've shown all you this, so hopefully you're not too freaked out by it. But stuff like this, you can't control it. It's best to get rid of it." And then I'll tie it back up.
But once it's already a certain amount gone, you either die or you let it finish properly.
What is this process? Like, what are the stages? How does this work?
You start transforming. If you stay healthy, if you stay somehow in favor, I don't know.
Physically, like, are the blue goblins people that have turned into blue goblins, or are
No.
they blue goblins that are turning into crabs?
They're blue goblins turning into other ocean-based creatures.
Okay. So
Have you ever seen a blue goblin actually complete the transformation properly?
I have not.
Not
And
even
why do
on
you-
anyone else's crew?
And why do you have blue goblins on your crew? Why are you not just a crew full of humans? If you're human pirates.
Well, a lot of the humans volunteered to go with Redtooth, the main captain. And
You cut out for that.
a lot of the humans that were on all of our ships, they went off to go be with Redtooth to start a transformation process. And to replace that crew, we were sent Blue Goblins.
Mm.
To be honest, they're a great crew. They're seafaring. They know how to sew. They know how to replace. They know how to fix holes. They are almost as good as my human crew until they started going through the transformation.
Sure. Okay.
Lucanius was my second in command and my brother.
Okay.
When I was told that I couldn't have him back, that's when I left the fleet.
Well, if Marcel can't fix whatever this is, I can make an attempt. I can't guarantee anything. And if you have materials, that might help. But we have some options we can try. I can also get into contact. Lucanius is being... We don't really know where Lucanius is right now because the island we left, Trastenfin, is being attacked by goblins and crabs. So a lot of people left, including my father, and were on the high seas last time I checked, in a storm. So I can try and contact them and guide them here. I think Konos and I were talking about trying to guide them via constellations through mapping and trying to guide their way here. But we don't know how successful that will be. We're also going to talk to the Haka and see if they can keep an eye out for the ship. I think Lucanius is on that ship.
What would you, if you could, what would you want to say to Lucanius?
I would say that we could go start a business like we dreamed about when we were younger and leave all this behind. Maybe go to the big city. He's always wanted to see Cowport.
Oddly enough, so have we.
What do my spell slots look like? What was our plan, Konos? We talked about it last session and then we got interrupted with the fight.
It was to use the rod to get a
Yes,
line of bearing to their fleet,
Yeah.
and then tie that to the constellations along that line, and then use your messaging to tell the fleet what constellations to sail towards,
Yeah.
head towards us.
About what time is it, actually?
It's becoming late afternoon right now. And
Okay.
those storm clouds are still moving in. Once the wyverns separated from the clouds didn't seem to move as fast as they had been previously. But that storm is still coming this way.
Konos, should we send some Haka out to see if there's a ship in that storm?
Absolutely, that's a good idea.
So
Maybe send some back to just the area where they found our ship too, just because. Who knows?
Yeah.
I'm curious. Why did you want my sword?
I was going to take it back to Redtooth and trade it for the knowledge of how to rescue Lucanius. He was very upset when that sword got stolen. I figured there was something significant about it that he needs to know or needs to have. But when you drew the sword and we were watching and I saw the glow around your neck, I just knew you must have an amulet.
So we might have to outrun that storm if there are nasty things in it.
I feel like we took care of the nasty things in it. It's not moving as
Yeah.
fast.
It's
Hopefully. If we need to fight anything else, we're in trouble. I'm gonna flop down on the floor and cast sending.
Is that storm going to encompass the island eventually? Does it look like?
I mean, it's coming your direction, so.
It's that big a storm.
I would say let's get back to land or get in cover on the ship. How bad of a storm does it look like it's going to be?
I mean, now it looks like a typical storm. So,
Okay.
Some rain.
So not like a hurricane or anything
Right.
like that.
Right.
Okay. So there's a lot of decision making, but it is getting late and there is going to be a storm. We should probably get everything ready for the storm.
But you should also figure out what direction and get the constellations before the storm clouds roll in and we can't see the stars.
If the storm,
I was going to point out if they're still in the storm or like they're not going to be able to see any constellations to follow anyway.
Right.
If they're going in that direction.
But well, if they were in a storm last we checked, but that was last night. Yeah,
that was last night.
I hope they're not in a storm still.
Yeah, because that would be bad. Well, I mean, if we get a chance, I'll definitely want to be part of like looking at the constellations and mapping all that out because I have a spell now that lets me. It's like sending, but it lets me send images. Basically, I can literally create like a dream state, and send images, messages, words, pictures. So I would literally send them like the full like horizon with all the constellations. These are the ones you follow. These are the coordinates you sail to. This is the bearing you take, and everything.
Cool.
And then there's as far as how effective this amulet is going to be. If I have a chance to rest, I could try something that it's dangerous, but I might be able to find out for sure just how effective this amulet will be at either undoing or completing this transformation he's talking about. But like I said, it's dangerous, so that would probably be like the last thing I do this day.
Okay. Sure. Well, let's get moving. We have a storm on the way.
Yep.
So what is it that you're gonna do, Konos?
Well, I'll need to do a short rest before I do either of these things.
Okay. So let's end here then, and do a quick debrief. I think we need a debrief after that battle.
Yeah, I need some therapy after some emotional trauma.
That was fun.
I was so afraid I was gonna lose my character. I honestly, for a couple rounds there, I actually thought I was gonna lose my character.
But that's the best kind of fight.
It really is, though. Like looking, like now that everything's okay, I'm like, all right, that's fun. Although I am ticked that I was blinded for so long because I had other things I wanted to do, but I couldn't see.
Yeah,
the only thing worse than blinded is stunned.
Yeah, that's true. I managed to save on that, but those dex saves, man.
I have stunned people before, and I've had the unfortunate problem of like one of my players being stunned for 90% of a battle.
Oh man,
it's your turn. Oh yeah, sorry. Next,
it's your turn, and moving on. Or it's like the one guy who kept staying stuck in the black tentacle spell.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Failed his save every time. Yeah.
Literally.
Yep. I mean, when those spells work the way they're supposed to, they're godsends like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
when they're used against you, not so much.
Yeah.
It also
Yeah.
helps when the DM's rolling bad.
I mean, yeah,
That was
you,
rough.
that was really rough. I rolled more 3s and 4s tonight than I
Yeah.
have rolled in 2 years.
Wow.
I mean, it was really, yeah, that was rough. I'm gonna have to, they get one more chance.
Yeah.
And like generally speaking, the DM has the most rolls, so like you have a better
Yeah,
chance of rolling,
right.
at least
Well,
average, you know.
that's what
Yeah.
makes these scions, these deep scions, these fish things, they're modified based on it's these guys, right?
Okay.
They're of course modified, just in terms of it's partly how they look and how they act, but the
Mhm.
basics of their attacks are the same, and I mean they get a triple multi attack, so
Mm.
it's kind of one of those like it's a claw bite creature, and it
Mhm.
has a very low AC, but it's a decent challenge, but it doesn't have any real spell casting ability, right? Other than that screech thing that it does. But if that thing fails, if you make your saves, well, then there's not, much that it
I
can
mean,
do.
that's the like the thing that it has that like yeah, if you get
Right.
hit by that and get stunned, you're
Yep.
kind of screwed.
Right.
Not only do you lose your turn, they get advantage on you, and then
Right.
it becomes 3 attacks with
Right.
advantage.
Exactly.
And, oh
Mhm.
And
crap.
that's what makes them so deadly, even though they're dead simple creatures. I mean, they're
Yeah.
like, oh, they have melee attacks. Okay, like that's.
Yeah.
But if they hit you and you're
I
stunned,
was
you are
I
bad.
was honestly expecting you to have the wyverns fly up to me because I was doing so much damage to them. I was like,
Those are sort of very young storm wyverns, and aren't they sort of didn't know or it was kind of one of those, imagine in your first battle, right? You don't realize
yeah.
till it's too late, right? So yeah, they were, yeah.
It apparently didn't speak primordial because
Yeah, I mean they just, yeah, it
they're
was,
just creatures.
yeah,
They're
they were just,
beasts.
yeah, they weren't,
Had to try still.
yeah,
Still, when one of them got Emerin with the natural 20 with the stand, I'm like, oh no, that's
yeah,
going to be the worst because the poison damage would have been doubled too.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
Mm.
Yeah.
the cutting words I think saved your life.
yeah,
Yeah.
Those
No,
those wyverns are just lucky that I cannot twin spell chaos bolt because
yeah, yeah.
yeah, actually came in several times to the rescue for a couple of us. Got me back for the first fight we had when you died. We're even now. We're even.
Yeah.
That was
So,
awesome, though.
ha was it a hindrance to not have a map?
I don't think so.
No.
No, because in this case, you did a really good job of, sort of
Mhm.
setting the scene. Here's where the groups are. Here's how many are over here. Here's how many are, and you were able to do that um, frequently enough that I was able to keep a good picture enough in my
Okay.
mind, and not make it slow down
Yeah.
combat too much with the description of kind of who's left and where everyone is.
Yeah. Here's my
Yeah, I didn't feel
picture.
hindered like I didn't have enough information.
Nice.
You want to see mine?
Nice.
All over it.
Yeah.
I liked the quick recap when the creatures came around. Just like,
Mhm.
okay, here's what you have left. Here's where they are. Here's what's happening. Like that kind of condensed it enough to where I was
Mhm.
like, okay, I can do this, I can do this, and I can do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah. Because like I said, I really was. I had Roll20 open, and I was like, okay, how am I going to make this map, and how do I want to do this, and do I make tokens, and what are we going to do, and how am I going to show it to you? Am I going to
Mhm.
have you log into Roll20, and is that I had this whole thought process where I had to figure out, okay, is this going
Yeah.
to be useful, or is it going to be more of a hindrance because my computer will get a lot slower if I'm hosting OBS streaming and trying to host Roll20 and having Whereby open, you know what I mean? So that
Right.
Yeah.
I felt I ended up basically saying, all right, and hearing from other people that yeah, Roll20 is lagging a little bit because there's so many people on it, and the weekend is always heavy usage there. And I just thought, I'm not going to mess with it because it sounds like a lot of technical difficulty heartache.
Right.
So
Plus, with all the good.
It's like, how tactical do you need the combat to be, right? Because like with some groups, it's all about counting range and counting spell range and maneuvering to be able to get your cone into the right position. How many can I get to maximize the effect? And if that's not the focus, if that's not the goal, if you have a group that works well, it's just, hey, I'll roll with it. If you're gonna be abstract, it'll be abstract, and that works fine too.
Yeah.
I think it worked well. I think having as long as like I like the whole like using the Genesis method of distance. Just to simplify things is pretty neat. And like from my point of view, like I built Marcel to be able to hit pretty much anything they can see.
Right.
Because they have spell sniper, so it's like, as long as I can see, I can just shoot.
Yeah, good thing you weren't blinded.
Yeah, but blinding and stunning. I mean, back in the 4th edition days, I basically banished dominate and dazed and stunned from my game because those 3 things were so detrimental to the fun of one player. And I don't mean like I had a particular one player, but I mean it on average it would be one player that got affected by one of those types of effects. And that player would sit there the whole combat. And now we just spent like 2.5 hours on a combat, but we just had a massive combat. I mean, there were 8 of those flower mouth creatures. There were 2 wyverns. There were 8 goblins, sharkface, and the 5 of you, right? Because if we count Blacksley, we sort of dealt with him, right? So that was a massive battle at sea on a boat. I could have added a whole bunch of other complications about moving around in the waves and all that, and I just wanted to keep it as simple as possible, and it still took us 2.5 hours roughly, right?
Yeah. To go through like 5 or 6 rounds.
Right. Yeah, and that was exactly. It was exactly 5 rounds, right? In 4th edition, that 5-round combat would take like the entire like 5-hour session, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
And imagine a player
the big
getting.
thing about 4th edition was the amount of options that everyone had that made it so difficult. I mean, here I think it's a bit kind of evened out because we're all spellcasters, so we do have a crap ton of options to throw at enemies depending on the situation. But I think we all managed to like ahead of time figure out what spells were best. And like for me it was pretty simple. The wyverns are used to being in a storm. Okay, no lightning or thunder damage. Well, that takes care of like 50% of my spells. Let's concentrate on chaos bolt.
Yeah. But imagine being like dominated or dazed in 4th edition, and you're literally doing nothing for your turn for 3 turns. But 3 turns in 4th edition is like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the person's literally sitting there for just 2 hours waiting for something to happen, basically.
Yeah.
That's not a fun session.
Yeah, I took those out of I house ruled that out of my game, with the exception of a few really powerful solo type creatures that they would maybe fight one time in an entire 1 to 30 campaign, right? And I was a little bit wary this time of that blindness, but I was like, that's just sort of how the creature works, and so I chose not to change it, but I don't know that I'll leave it that way because I feel like that's really punishing, because being blinded is so punishing in 5th edition. So
a little rough.
Yeah.
The idea of wyverns coming in, and because I was flying, reminded me of something that happened in one of my first games that was in 2nd edition before concentration was a thing, where I ended up soloing a dragon with a combination of greater invisibility and fly.
Nice.
That was that was a fun one.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
I would just fly out of, like, I would throw thunderbolts, and because I was invisible, I would just fly to another point in the sky, so the dragon kept, like, fireballing or whatever where I
Right.
was and never hitting me. And I apparently got it to within, like, 5 hit points before the DM was like, yeah, it flies off. And I was like, good!
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
why they invented concentration.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
And
That's
you
exactly
just
right.
you would need high level enough magic like that just to be able to have any kind of chance in a situation like that by yourself
Right.
too. Otherwise, you're
Yeah.
dead in 2 rounds basically.
Yeah.
That was a campaign where I was secretly like 4 levels above the party, and that was the combat that made the party realize it. And I was like, what?
Whoops. That's funny. That's funny. Well, is there anything else that that you all want to talk about or that you're curious about? Or I mean, I wasn't sure how long the combat would take, so I actually prepped a bunch of Cowport stuff too. So so I
You
guess
thought
next
we were
time we'll. I know I'm an optimist. I'm an optimist.
Someday we'll get to
Someday
Yeah.
we'll get to Cowport.
One of these days.
But yeah, so a lot has happened since the first decision to go to Cowport. A lot has happened, and I know
Mhm.
that when we first had started off on that journey, Nina in particular, and I know the rest of you had questions that were added as well. But Nina, didn't you create a document that was basically the list of questions you had that you wanted to find in Cowport? You wanted to find the answers.
I did. I forgot about that, but
Yeah.
I did
So
make something.
So I mean, so I guess my suggestion is that probably you should post that on Discord again, and then the 4 of you should sort of have a conversation about what things now that you might want to find out in Cowport and how you might go about finding those things
Oh
out.
man, I haven't updated this since November of 2019.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Oh man,
We had a 4-month detour.
oh, this is amazing. Some of this we know.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, some of it's
I mean,
obsolete
yeah,
now.
we have discovered some stuff. Yeah,
right.
we still
So
have to figure out a lot about my amulet,
Yeah,
and
there's
also maybe figure out if the party has figured out why I don't want to let go of it.
we have maybe like 20% of the questions answered, and then another like 20 questions thrown in there.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I mean, Konos wants to know obviously more about what his patron is always,
Mhm.
yeah,
and how to reach it. So that's one of the main reasons I took contact with other planes. Like, okay, I'm going to try to essentially hack my way into using that to get some answers.
love it.
The drawback is if the spell I have to make an intelligence save when I cast it, and if I fail it, it literally drives me insane.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
Oh.
Emran, you've got greater restoration, right?
Yeah, but it costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gold worth of diamond dust.
Diamond dust, yeah.
Yeah. Well, so the way when I cast a spell, I make an intelligence saving throw. On a failure, I take 66 psychic damage, and I am insane until I finish a long rest. A greater restoration spell cast on me ends the spell. So that's why I'm saying this is one I would only cast like at the very end of the day.
So if you're left drooling there, we just tuck you in. And...
Yeah, I would say you probably tie me up for my own safety and then tuck me in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's rough.
Okay,
I'll update this and throw it back on Discord.
Okay. Karu, is there something that we have to do to the ennui thing? Or when I tell Craig to get out of the channel, it'll actually...
No, it should stop recording once you do that.
Okay. I just want to make sure I remember to ask
you. You can also just close the window that was recording the ennui, and it should just stop it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, is there anything else that anybody wants to bring up or talk about?
No, I think that's it.
That was an exciting session.
That was wild.
Yeah.
That was rough.
So I do have one question, and that is, what are you going to do with Sharkface?
I don't know.
Okay, if you're not, if
I
you
mean,
don't
I
know.
think we have to figure out what we can do with the amulet
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
see if we can actually help, and if it's worth the risk of using the amulet.
Mhm.
Because it's either we use it ourselves and try to do something to help his people, or you guys find a way to get it off of Marcel
Mhm.
to give it to Sharkface and let him deal with it. But Marcel's not giving it up on their own. But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing. Do we care if Lerlac probably knows where we are right now anyways.
Yeah.
We did just mess with his temple and all of that. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's worth the risk of like doing it now, since he doesn't know where we're going. He just knows where we are. Like, that's an option. Well, unfortunately, we still don't have identify in the party. So
Yep.
Nope.
yeah, I could always just contact Lerlac and ask him.
I mean, that's essentially what I did when I grabbed that lens and was like, "Oh, hey, look at your lab."
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Could do. We'll have to see, but we'll have to make that decision before going to Kelport, because I don't know. Maybe if Lerlac comes to us, that just solves a lot of our problems. We just kill him.
Again.
It didn't go so well last
Again.
time.
Maybe not with thunder damage this time.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I just stay in the background and heal people. Maybe I'll be a proper cleric.
I think
But
Axe
I'm
actually was
still
the proper cleric tonight.
I think so
Yeah.
too. Actually was the proper cleric. I think I
I mean,
healed
to be
myself
fair,
twice.
given the composition of our party, you are kind of one of our frontliners.
Yeah, actually.
You definitely have better AC than the rest of us squishy casters.
Yeah.
I only have a D6 for health, so
And I had my mace, and I was gonna use my mace, and that didn't pan out.
I mean, if you have spells, why would you use a weapon?
Yeah.
Because it does so much damage if I roll a nat 20. That didn't happen. I think we only rolled one nat 20 all game.
Mhm.
Lots of nat ones that almost killed me. Like, straight up just killed me.
I am
I think
shocked
I
I
got-
rolled as well as I did.
See, I told you, out of combat, it sucks. In combat, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to go in or stay out? My cat
always
can't make
the
it.
question.
My cat can't make his mind up
It's-
about whether he wants to be in or
It's a
out.
cat.
Yeah.
He wants the
Yep.
door open. He just doesn't
Mm.
want the door to be closed. He
Yo,
doesn't
yeah.
want to go in or out. He
Mine's
just wants the
definitely
door
that way.
open.
Mhm.
I know
All
how
right.
that's how this guy is. Can't go to the bathroom without and close
Thank
the
you,
door.
Sam, for prepping everything. That was so
Yes.
fun.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was
I'm glad you
probably a
enjoyed
lot
it.
of work with all of that, like, 10
Well, so
enemies,
I
shark face.
there was a moment when I was planning all of when I was sort of sketching out in my brain how this encounter was going to be structured at the beginning. There was a chance to bring a spellcasting enemy in. And I decided against it because my brain was not able to really deal with all of that plus everything else. So and in hindsight, I think that was probably the right decision because the Storm Wyverns are so I mean they're basically my creation, but I sort of cobbled different things together, and so this was kind of almost a play test for them. And I didn't want to have to be dealing with that and all of the deep scions and a spellcaster, and that just would have been like way too much. So
Spellcasters, as a DM, I find that spellcasters are the worst thing for a battle because you're
Yeah.
already dealing with a lot of
Mhm.
enemies, and trying to play a spellcaster properly requires a lot of thinking.
right.
Yeah.
it's hard,
Yeah.
and you always forget something or
Mhm.
do something wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Because any kind of strategy you might have with it generally goes out the window by the time it actually gets to their turn, because the whole
Right.
battlefield changes. Like, okay, well, now I was going to cast this spell when the place situation looked like
Mhm.
this. Now it looks completely different. Now I got to go through a list of 20 spells and figure out what's the
Right.
next
Yeah.
Right.
best thing to cast.
Yeah.
So give me 15 minutes while I figure that out.
Yeah.
Talk amongst
Not to
yourselves.
mention, well, at least in my experience, my players are very wary of spellcasters, so
Mhm.
they're pretty quick to down any spellcaster or at least keep them busy.
Right.
And in
Yep.
my Friday group, there's 2 people with counterspell as well, so that's fun.
Oh,
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's like you
Yeah.
almost want to say, yeah, why even bother? But then it's like, well, because they
Because
need to
it
have
burns their
something to counter.
spells.
Could
Right.
lose that, yeah,
Right.
because they need, because plus
Yeah.
it gives them something to actually do.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, and they're gonna fire. No, they're not. Okay, well, that's one spell slot used.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And but the issue there is then, like, what happens to me is I end up trying to place the spellcaster in the most efficient location, and it's just hard to keep track of, like that brain space is really fun sometimes if you're a player, but as the DM trying to also do everything else, it's and on a stream where it's really not appropriate for me to say, hold on, give me 5 minutes, everybody take a 5-minute break, like,
Yeah.
maybe once during a
Yeah.
stream, right? But not like, every third round, okay, let's take a 5 or 10-minute break. That's not, that doesn't
I
like
think
work.
I think as a DM, the one that I've found the hardest to play was a spellcaster cleric,
Hmm.
especially because then you have to decide, well, are they going to heal or are
Right.
they going to do something else? And
Yeah.
it and the other thing with spellcasters is that, yeah, they only get one action, so it's like, well, if this fails,
Mhm.
this big bad level 10 spellcaster is going to be a piece of cake because
Right.
they've got 50 hit points and they're dead in one turn. So
Yeah,
they're going to
and
get one
some
chance to do something, and
Yeah.
otherwise they're not going to look so tough. The
Right.
players are
yeah,
going to be like, oh, that's it. We took him down with one hit.
Right. Right.
yeah,
And the thing is, like, if I have an enemy spellcaster, what I tend to do is I plan out, like, okay, in the first round, this is their plan. In the second round, this is their plan. In the third round, this is their plan. And then I'll have like little notes about, okay, what's their movement? Where would they move to if they were getting threatened with a melee combatant? And if this gets counterspelled, what would be their next, like, what's the next and if they have to heal, they're not going to heal until they get down to half their hit points, or you know what I mean, like, to get a strategy going.
yeah.
But
Yep.
that's so rough to do, like, during the middle of a battle, to be looking at that and say, okay, it's just a lot to keep track of. And I'll be honest, it's harder for me to do that in a online game than it is when I'm playing face to face. Because in my face to face
Mhm.
group, it's a little more natural if I say, okay, give me a second, and I'm looking at stuff. They can all chat with each other or strategize with each other, and it doesn't feel like as much of a pause. Whereas online games, and I've run a lot of online games, and every time there's a sort of break, most of the time the players don't necessarily banter back and forth. It's more about, okay,
Mhm.
we're all sort of on pause, right? Like, everybody kind of feels like,
Yeah.
okay, we can't do anything because then the DM will have to interrupt us if we start talking, and and so it's sort of a different feeling a little bit, and it takes a long time to get into a place where your group is going to be chatty, even online. So yeah, it's a different, that's one of those things that never quite gets compared between online games and face to
Yeah.
face, is having the DM need a pause has a different effect on the game. So anyway, well, I think that is a great place to stop. So I hope all of you stay happy and healthy, and you are able to go about your business in the best way possible in these times of horrible illness and crisis. So, um, and I hope that for all of you, and I hope that for our listeners as well. So thank you for listening. And if you would like to send us an email with a question, comment, or suggestion, you can email us at dndebrief@gmail.com. That's dndebrief@gmail.com. You can tweet at me at DM Samuel. You can follow us or support us on Patreon at patreon.com/rpgmusings. You can also follow and support all of Hikaru's awesome games over at patreon.com/midgardia. And you can follow us on Twitter. All of our handles are in the show notes. And I think that will be us saying goodbye for today. Bye, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.
All right, let's go out here. And we